This is an impromptu stream. I hadn't intended on doing anything until Saturday, which is the usual designated time of when I do these. But I decided to um, talk about this because I try so hard in my day to day, I guess, living, just real world interactions to not have, if I have a disagreement with what someone else says, I don't say it. Um, Oftentimes they're usually talking about something that I don't really care that much about. And, it's been my guiding philosophy for as long as I can remember because I'm kind of tapped out when it comes to arguing about certain stuff. Make sure the audio's working. But what I witnessed in the last half hour was it's like if you took stupidity and mixed it with ignorance and like blended them together and out came like verbal diarrhea. It was that bad. So very quick breakdown. Person is watching, or rather, Drew Me is hearing a interview Sanders did with the Washington Post a couple days ago, and they remarked that he has good ideas. Um, I played the clip to something else where it's a secular talk video where he was talking about this interview that Harris had and played a clip of her trying to, I guess, defend single payer. And the person states their opposition to this plan, this healthcare plan. Uh, and that kind of leads me to say, what the hell? Because just to give you a background, they say they would vote for Sanders over Biden, but you are literally opposing one of his core ideas, or rather proposals. And I've likened myself to someone that can have their position changed based off of evidence relating to certain topics and ideas. And in having that kind of mentality, right? It's just, it depends on what is shown to me that I'll adapt my position based off of what is proven to be reality. I concluded that single payer was the best system because it is it achieves universal coverage and completely abolishes the private insurance industry, which again, to rehash a point I made earlier in the day, is the principal reason for why you have these high, ridiculous costs. And it just feels like, when you look at something like that and you see it work in these other countries like Canada and Denmark and whatnot, it becomes a lot harder for me to have any kind of justification for opposing that proposal. Um, and so imagine my disgust and downright contempt when I watch a person who has not any type of knowledge on this topic hears some crap on one of these right wing networks and repeats it back to me. It grosses me out. I had to sit here and listen to what was the equivalent of nails on chalkboard in human form in terms of that argument. Oh, it it's they said that people have to wait months to go to the doctor. It's like, let's, which that's incorrect, but let's pretend that was. Do you know how long people who don't have any coverage have to wait to go to the doctor? Forever, because they don't have any. But they see, when people say that, I'm not one of these people that will claim that the system is perfect, that it is completely without, it's some flawless idea, right? But if you have something that is garbage and you can get something that is, let's not say gold, let's say silver. Um, I don't understand the reasoning for going with the garbage. And due to the fact that we have no one attending, I will end this soon. I'm tired of listening to these idiots. And like it's funny, like the more I think about directly, because it's one thing to hear something on one of these networks, right? You can always turn that off. The more I think about my direct face to face, I don't want to say quarrels, but disagreements with a lot of these characters, it just reminds me of why I prefer to keep to myself and to limit my circle, because I'm surrounded by people. And we had this same thing. There's an old segment on TYT about this. It was Cenk and Anna, where they were talking about the fact that they had friends who were picking Clinton over Sanders in terms of who they want to vote for in that Democratic primary. And it offended Anna because she was pointing out that she covers this stuff and knows about this wide spectrum of issues on a just day to day basis, whereas these other people kind of casually hear stuff and listen to it. And it's only in the field of politics or public policy or anything having to do with history and elected officials and government that you get this weird sort of like disrespect in terms of your ability to just actually influence people. She made the example of how a doctor wouldn't get told how to operate on a heart, and just stuff like that, where this is the one profession and the one, dare I say, field of expertise where you can have someone who's never tried to do any research on this. Their entire knowledge about this topic relates to watching one segment on some stupid network that's bought out by a defense contractor or pharmaceutical component, and they'll think they know more about it than you do. I mean, guys, or whoever you are that just came in here, you had the person literally say that you can get on welfare, and this will, because I brought up the fact that 30 million people don't have health insurance. Like, well, if it was so easy to do that, how the hell do all these other people? Like, Ruben, isn't it true that if you don't have a child, you cannot get or get try to get public assistance if you're an adult? They don't just like hand you stuff for. We don't have universal basic income, so they don't just hand you money just cause. Isn't that true? I'm waiting for your response while I just continue to, I guess, cool off. Like man, when I heard that come out of that person's mouth, yeah, like no, Ruben, under their theory, you can literally walk into, I guess, the welfare office and say, "Hi, my name is Ruben or Justin or whatever, and I would like free money and free healthcare," and they would give it to you. But this is what I'm talking about. They take reality and they warp it to fit their own stupid bias that has no basis in logic or reasoning. I don't have a list of all the other countries that have single payer. Um, Again, Denmark and Canada. I want to say Sweden, but I'm not remembering correctly. But the point is, this is something that other countries, including Israel, from what I've been told, and they don't have to worry about high premiums and deductibles. And I heard this person while I'm playing this segment from Jimmy's channel from January. If you remember, Ruben, he made a video where he was talking about all the stupid like incremental ways people were planning on implementing the single payer system, and he was covering all of them and saying, why do I have to wait until I'm like it's accepted that Medicare is good, so why do I have to wait 40 years to get into what is good? Like it was a really basic deconstruction of like the arguments that people make against it. Let's see, I actually have tried to get Medicaid from the welfare office, and they told me that I don't qualify at all. Well, that's my point, that you have both experience as someone that's tried to do it, or done some version. I'm not saying you were looking to just get free stuff as they claim people are, but your own life experiences and also what is reality dissuade this person's argument. So it's like, what the hell are they talking about? But this is the kind of lunacy that I hate so much about talking to other people about stuff. I had a guy who, loves Obama like, it's 2009, right? Like we haven't seen all the evil stuff that's happened under his tenure and then the tenure following it. And I had mentioned like in Carter because he was opposed to these foreign conflicts and not, like, oh, this country declared war on us. So let's, I'm not talking about full on pacifist. I'm talking about this place is doing nothing to us, but they have oil. Let's go screw with them. That kind of thing. Starts bringing up the just all the usual talking points about Carter, the Iranian hostage crisis, and it's like, okay, look, you can easily say those are not good things, but then when we go through the record of the person you're bootlicking for, it's a complete just wreck. Like if we just sit there and talk about foreign issues, we're completely omitting. Uh, People like to say Trump jails journalists. The Espionage Act, threw journalists in jail 6 times. Obama did that. Stuff like that. Just the milk toast policies on the banks, a healthcare system that was designed to keep the people who screwed it over in the first place in control. A right wing Republican healthcare system that these people love now because it's got a D next to it at this point. But this is my thing that like you can bring up these topics and then they'll still try to like clamor to this idea. And remember, they're the ones who want to express to you their opposition. I don't say anything to them about what my feelings are because it doesn't piss me off that someone, how do I say this? It does not bother me so much that someone does not agree with my position, so much as it is not expressed to me. Like just to give you an example, I had a person who sat back and tried to have a what you could call showing of their disdain for um, the immigration system and whatnot. And I tried to explain to them that you've got a large portion of immigrants that are coming in legally, and then they overstay their visas, and how this was completely being omitted by Trump. Just as an example of how even if you get this wall that are jizzing over so much, it still isn't going to completely fix the problem or possibly even influence it all at all. Um, but whatever. I just said as an example. They continued to believe what they wanted to believe, and I just left them alone because, like I said, that topic does nothing for me. I don't feel I'm being threatened by people coming here from other places, and I also do not care enough about it to prioritize it over environmental policy, the 7 wars that we're currently in, our crappy, garbage healthcare system that people want to defend for some screwed up reason. So, I left it alone. But I've had people who have this like weird tendency where when they position themselves, right, they introduce their position on an issue and then you bounce back against, you go, hey, wait a second, that's kind of stupid because fact here, fact there, fact there. And when you say, hey, these are the facts, this is why I'm opposed to what you just said, I'm just giving an opinion. It's like, but your opinion is based on feelings and this like weird narcissism about how remember, these people don't pay attention to this stuff at all. They see a little stupid news clip and they go, oh, now I'm an expert. Just like last year when we had the airstrike in Syria, the one I thought was dumb because again, why are we messing with Syria? And oh, what a coincidence. The national security advisor wants to screw with all these different countries, just got in office, and a week later we're doing this. What a coincidence. Me saying that he played some part in influencing that. But, I thought the strike was dumb. I think messing with any country doesn't mess with us is dumb. It's just that's key point of my foreign policy, whatever. But anyways, this person does not pay attention, does not know anything about U.S. relations with Syria, and then they hear about this strike and they watch on TV. Oh my God, look at the chemicals that we're using to children over there. I'm so glad that Trump is getting involved and helping. And I was like, he's helping by bombing. He's helping by bombing. Now, if you want to send humanitarian aid, here's some dollars to maybe, I don't know, build some places that are impenetrable to those weapons if they truly were sent by the Syrian government, we can talk. But he's helping by bombing. Oh, I really imagine if I said, I hope Japan helps the US by sending some airstrikes our way, I'd be branded a terrorist in 2 seconds. So, why is it patriotic to say this is helping, but then not go explain how this is helpful? But this is what I'm talking about. Like these people are just because I see them in their daily lives and they can sometimes do a couple of things that make a little bit of sense. But it's like whenever you sit them down and start seriously talking about public policy and just the way things are handled, they turn into complete and utter clowns. Like their brains just it turns into happy hour. These same people hate Trump at the same time, supported him wanting to intervene in Venezuela. They didn't fall for that one, this person, but it's like even then they supported getting involved in Syria. They were quiet about all the different conflicts under Obama. It's the same kind of thing where they're wishy-washy. Like, they'll be the first one to concede, okay, 30 million Americans will have health insurance. But then when you say, hey, let's take that program that kicks in at a certain age and make it kick in upon birth, i.e. Medicare. Oh, we can't do that because all these people that don't work are going to get health care. It's like, so you're so obsessed with a bunch of people who aren't doing anything to you, that you would rather screw over the majority of people who do contribute just to like spite those that don't. Ruben, did you see the video on Tom Hartman, one I did earlier? Just make sure whether you checked it out or not. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I was just pointing out that he kicked off this guy that called Gillibrand a neoliberal after she said something about her privilege for her ethnicity. Um, well, I appreciate your intent to see it later, but I was just saying that it was that Hartman kicked the person off the thing and actually was talking about blocking his number so he couldn't call again. Kind of harsh, right? But then when he had a Trump supporter who called in and was like, these people hate America, like just shouting him down, he wanted to talk to him, and I was like, how the hell are you going to give this guy who is not trying to approach you with any kind of intellectual conversation a pass to speak and have like a back and forth, but then the one who is specifically pointing out, like he really basically said, as long as you're running for president as a Democrat, you have like blanket immunity to critique on my show. Like, not Fox doesn't even do that with the Republicans. When Trump pulled out of Syria, which was something I agreed with because, again, we're over there for no reason, which he later rescinded. We all remember the story there. But when he pulled out of there, he had multiple commentators on that network and senators in Congress going, "Hey, that's not the right thing to do." Hartman really goes out of his way to avoid criticizing Democrats at all. I think he used to do that even when he still worked at RT. Well, what it is that he's trying to like free speech TV is supposed to be about speaking the truth about both parties, no matter what the thing is. And he's trying to like play this angle of, oh yeah, I'm part of the Bernie Crat wing of the Democratic Party. That's why he comes on my show along with Ro Khanna and Mark Pocan and or Pocan and Merkley and the rest of the people that you would consider to be actual progressives. But at the same time, I'm gonna like he has a segment where he was praising Pelosi, and it's like all the people on that network, they if you listen to them long enough, they say these things about these establishment people that just turn my stomach because like you'll listen to him, right? And this is the paradox I'm talking about. It'd be different if he was just like a news reporter. Chris Hedges and Greg are also go to Tom's show. Oh, I haven't seen them yet, but I was saying that if you watch his show enough, you'll hear him talk about the need for fair trade. You put in these protectionist policies to make sure that American jobs can't get outsourced to Canada and Mexico, right? and he talks about, why don't we have a wage increase? Um, why are people, earning at the minimum wage a third of what they earned uh, 51 years ago? Stuff like that, where he speaks in a manner that is similar to Sanders's positions, right? But then he praises these like establishment figures in the same show, and it's like, what am I watching? I don't know. I'm watching a guy who wants to be two things that I just don't think can coexist. I don't think you can speak truth to power about screwed up, crappy policies executed by both parties, and then in the same breath defend garbage candidates who've done nothing to better the circumstance in the way you want it. God, it's like I sometimes I really think like I wanted to do a whole series of documentaries where I was gonna like lay out all of the different um, policies of various presidents and other people. And like the main thing that stops me is that it feels like when you give sources of things, you say, "Hey, this came from here. This is where this was stated." If people don't like the fact that that information exists, they get pissed off at you for the fact that it happened. Like it almost makes me just want to not even bother with doing that kind of stuff. That sounds like a good idea for a series. Well, that's my thing. That like if I did, I'd probably only do it on ones I like because people like lose their minds too much over this stuff to where I'm just, they need to relax. And, you should have seen this person and their outrage over single payer. Like they really tried to make it seem as if they had some informed disdain for this policy. But then, they say nothing negative about Medicare, as it stands. Let's see. Two IT's public video. Progressive pledge goes to Congress. Like they don't say anything bad about that as it stands, but when you talk about expanding it, oh my god. Yeah, Ruben, I would have informed you about this impromptu stream. I haven't posted anything on Twitter because I'm looking at them like this. If I start, because my main focus of being on there was always to promote my own stuff, right? If I start posting my own stuff, but I say it, like I don't say anything about any of these candidates or political stuff, it's like I'm gonna get 50% of what I want. And then if I just like favorite stuff that other people are doing, I don't really feel as if I'm actually it's like basically being banned, but it's like a self ban at this point where you have a little bit more privileges than someone who isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like just it's walking on eggshells because I don't know again what caused them to do that. So it's just me saying, do I really want to be like the itsy bitsy spider who crawled up the water spout, gets a couple of tens of followers, and they wash him out again? It's just that's the way I'm looking at it. I don't know. I'll probably make some decision soon. I just it's aggravating. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed some of the recent stuff that I've put out. I know it's been segments from the Saturday stream, but I did the other one today, the one with Hartman, and I had to sift whenever I do one of those just to give you an idea of how the editing on this stuff works. When I do a video where I take a clip of something, I have to download the full thing and then like sift through it. That was a 3-hour show, so I had to sift through there and grab those two parts and stick them in my thing and record my own stuff. It's not that long, but it's just because it's more involved than like just sitting here and talking about something. It's a lot harder to like I think I'm saying just to make it feel like it's worth it because of how you just turn the camera on, say some stuff, go away. With that, you have to sit down and this, that, and the other. Okay, Ruben, so I haven't been showing up to Twitter recently either. I've been getting fed up with Twitter too. Yeah, like what's the point of being on a site that can just yank you whenever it wants with no explanation? And we've been over this before. I'm really sick of like all these different people and all this stuff. It's annoying. Um, but yeah, thank you for watching. Stream will be up on Saturday, two of them, one in the morning, one in the afternoon or evening, rather. And I just want to say, these are the kind of people we have to be worried about because it's one thing for big pharma to screw with us and like buy out these politicians to where they won't support directly having single payer. It's another thing for people to willfully be ignorant of certain things and try to push a system that screws them over, like to be complicit with policies that hurt them. Uh, and they'll be this will be the same person who complains about the ridiculous cost of their healthcare. But instead of getting a new system that has been proven to work in other countries, they'd rather whine about waiting 3 months for a doctor and uh, other people get it that don't work. Just all this lunacy, man. So thank you. Have a good night. See you later.